Hello and welcome back to the For the Badge podcast. I'm excited. It's our first show after the Premier League has returned. Go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And go ahead and hit the notifications bell. We'll get all that out of the way. And we will go ahead and get started. The freshest one. It's Man City away to Leeds. What you think, Lewis?
I'm happy to see him back. I'm glad Holland got himself a brace. The City should have had at least three or four in the first half, but old Jackie Grealish, he got his assist and he got some of the bear off his back, but there needs to be some consistency with him, or at least I think he needs to hit the back of the net so he can get a feel because he looks like he feels out of place now. And I think once the regulars are back in the team, I think he may have some trouble getting in the squad. He appears to be one of Guardiola's favorites, so he'll get running time. But when Foden is back and Silva's back, he may have struggle. But I'm glad Holland got a brace. De Bruyne looks hungry again. Not whole game, but perfect. But good enough for him. And a win is a win now. Only 5 points off Arsenal.
Yeah, I thought that. Or go ahead, X.
No, I was just say only five.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought that there were a couple of moments that City was a little bit sloppy in the midfield, but other than that, it was Leeds weren't able to capitalize. Leeds couldn't. They always looked rushed whenever they would turn the ball over. And so they couldn't keep the ball. And when you do that against City, you're gonna have a horrible day. Uh, you know, and they played, they just did what they normally do. And we'll get this sorted out here. There it goes.
Yeah.
They just did what they do, and it wasn't a surprise at some of the really good play that they had. And they, honestly, it was a joy to watch. I feel like it's tough to say that as our direct competition, for the championship, for the title. But De Bruyne, I mean, how much? What can you say about him? It's the World Cup was a fluke, is what I'm saying about it. Because holy crap!
He can't play for the flag.
Well, I mean, we discussed what we think it was, with Martinez and whatnot. But wow, he was incredible today.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of Holland's goals, Patrick? Do you think? I thought they were both, pretty easy goals for him.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I didn't get to really see this one. I only saw some highlights. I was going to point out that De Bruyne did look like he was getting back into form. But yeah, Holland. I I heard this or read this earlier. He's at 20 goals. The record is 34, and the Golden Boot last year was won at 23. So he's probably going to smash not only the record, but of course, get the Golden Boot in the process. But man, the thing about City is there for a while. You really thought that City was lacking size, that they were trying to, it was more Barcelona tiki taka, but you put like a we'll just say a monster right there for them to throw balls into.
You said that's the
It's
Norwegian
unfair.
Thor.
It's unfair. I mean, it truly, truly is unfair. And I have to give Pep credit. I mean, he's reinvented himself even after he's shown all this, success. He's gone out. And of course, he's got all the backing that he needs on this, but he's gone out. He's gotten pieces to say it was just not that Barcelona group. I can go and take this group. And I know we mentioned this earlier in another podcast, but I don't see how you don't have City as a favorite right now to win the Champions League. I mean, who's going to stop them? I think they're just going to be rounding into form here over this next couple of weeks, and seeing the battle between City and Arsenal to win the league is going to be fun.
Interesting to see the young kid. What was his name?
Rick,
What was his name,
Rick,
Lewis?
Rico Lewis. I'm glad he got to play.
Yeah, and he played the right back role slash center defensive mid role.
He did.
Um, it was like he stayed there. He
Yeah.
never went out wide. And here's what it was. Leeds didn't have enough of the ball to hurt him when he was switching back and forth. Leeds never had the ball enough during these turnovers to take advantage of the fact that Stones was trying to tuck back in while Lewis would be tracking back. They couldn't take advantage of the transition of the formation because they never kept the ball. But I thought that he was brilliant. As far as a coming in, playing a role that is new to literally everyone, except for Pep, obviously, this season. And it's really like I said in the chat, I'm pumped for February 15th because it's gonna be some. I mean, if they both play the way they've been, it's gonna be an incredible match. It's gonna be a really, really good game, and uh, I can only hope since it's at the Emirates we might be able to edge it, but I mean that's gonna be incredible because I pulled up the statistics just now. It's 69-31 possession. 26 shots. Yeah, I mean it's just so quick. They produce so fast. It's
They had
um
16 in the first half.
yeah.
Mm.
I was telling you I was watching the Big Six. They were talking about how many chances that you create, and yes, Holland has dumped 20, and he's the fastest by 7 games
Hmm.
to do that in Premier League history. Uh, but with City as good as they are behind them. And today they had the 4 guys in the midfield. It was 4 center mids
Hmm.
because of him having but he had so much of the ball, and Holland just has chance after chance after
Well, they
chance.
know how to feed. Right, they designed it to feed him. They
Mhm.
designed it to feed him as much as they possibly can, and they bet it all in the house. And that's going to be their lineup. I mean, we did it. That's how we won the league. That's how we won the Champions League. That's
But
how we did it. That's
I,
exactly how we did it with Diego. We did it with Drogba. You feed the
Mhm.
beast.
well, I think the thing that's going to be scary for them, for opponents, is when Alvarez is incorporated to start with him, because I think then it gives them variation. So I think coming up, because of just the massive fixture gridlock that's going to happen, you're going to have Alvarez start some games as the lone striker, and he brings a completely different sort of style of play as the nine, and I think he's going to cause more problems because then, I mean, they're not going to obviously play in the same aerial way where they can just ping balls across. But this guy Alvarez, he is a gnat, man. So I think it's exciting. I think one of the big things is just having all these young guys playing the team is the exciting part. And I think this is where the Arsenal game is going to be super important because Arteta is familiar with a lot of those guys because he was really tasked with working with them, and I can give him some credit for those guys having that growth that they've had. So I'm looking forward to the game as well.
Do you think with Alvarez in there, it's a reversion to last season? Just simple, straight, right back to having a short kind of number 9 where their main goal is out to in with these passes and the overload in the center of the midfield, and with anybody's going to score. Foden's going to score. Grealish is going to score. De Bruyne is going to score. Alvarez is going to score. Do you think that's what happens?
I think that not only that, but I think it's even though he's been compared to him, he's clearly not him. But I think they're going to play like Aguero's in there. I think they're just going to run it where he's running off a guy's shoulders, and they're just scared because they don't know where he is because he's more active than Aguero was, which makes him a lot more dangerous because he's clinical like him. He's not him, but he's clinical like him. But then he'll get the odd goal where you're like, where the hell did that come from? Or he's willing to pass, which I think playing with Messi really did that for him. So I think it makes City Yeah, the funny thing is you mentioned the Champions League, but Pep has said it multiple times. It's a 7 game, like a 7-8 game tournament at this point, and anybody can beat anybody at any time. So you would hope that you're on your day. I would love for them to win, so then everyone can say they bought it, but the star will still exist, and then you just kind of go from there.
It's true.
Patrick, I think it's funny, right? Like you look at Man City's setup, and it looks awfully familiar to some setups that we've seen in our past. And
Mhm.
with the adage, if the goals start flowing in more directions than just Aaron and just Holland, that is how we won the league twice in the last 7 years now.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we won the league. We had
Yeah.
one massive goal scorer. We said, "Hey guys, focus on this guy, focus on him." And meanwhile, we got wingers putting in goals. We got midfielders putting in goals. We got David Luiz coming up from left back putting in goals. Like
Sideshow.
Hitting worldies
Just
from
say
like 30 out,
Just
30,
say it.
35
Y'all want to
out.
win the Champs League, and y'all have modeled it very familiar. Well played there, guy. Well played.
Well, I think that there. I know we were talking about this before we started. That whole intimidation factor. Sometimes teams are already beat before they even step on the field, and you see that. Jake, you were talking about how Leeds got down 3 goals and then they started playing. Well, yeah, they started playing because City's like, all right, we're good. We know we got this. And I think that mentality that you can strike fear into your opponents beforehand is something that takes teams from just good to elite to world class.
That's how you win the league. Yeah,
exactly.
But they're
They're scared
inconsistent
to line
in
up
that.
against you. Yeah.
They're
You think so?
inconsistent. Yeah, because take them to Liverpool and see how they act.
Well, I mean, but
it's their boogie. But the thing is, I agree with what you're saying. But being that team, no place can do that to you. Like I know they have demons. If they play Real Madrid, they're not forgetting what happened last year.
Of course
There's
not.
no way they're forgetting that. So for them, I think there's still a humility. They can't have that air until they win it all. And
Well, no, I'm just talking more so in the league, but I think that they will get to that point also in Champions League because it's kind of the mindset of we now belong. I think that mindset is something that eventually comes to you, and with how they went out in the Champions League last year, that's one of those things. Because if you think about it, right, they went out, of course, in the final against Chelsea. They went out against Real. Who they go out? They go out up against Liverpool 1 year too, if I remember right.
Mhm.
So, as Pep has built this team, put these pieces together, cultivated this atmosphere of winning. Not only that, but also this culture of winning. It's that mindset. That's where things change. Is like we were talking about. Benzema having the mindset of you're not beating me. This City team is starting to get into that mindset. You can see it. Even when, they're struggling, they know they're still going to win. And that itself is big. It's huge. And it's going to be interesting to see if that mindset carries over when they have a match against, Arsenal, because I believe that teams can get up for big teams anytime, any day. It's those other games against those little teams like your Bournemouths, your Southamptons. That's what's hard. That's what's cost Chelsea the league multiple times.
Cost you the league, right?
Like
Bournemouth. Yeah, we're about to take some 3 points, and then we end up with a 0-0 or a 1-1.
Well, it's funny
or we lose 1-0.
Or we lose. Well, we got Graham Potter now. We'll probably lose, so we'll lose the points.
Or you lose at home to Brentford on the last day before the World Cup.
No comment.
Again, I don't understand how my man's gonna get. I'm not going down this rabbit hole today.
A quick aside, but the reason I said the thing about City is because I've for years now I've gone to like supporters clubs and stuff, and the supporters don't have that feeling. They don't. And I'm quite different because when I watch a game, even when they go down, I'm never worried about them. But the supporters don't have it, and you can see where when people make jokes about the empty-eyed, I get it. I'm not bothered by that because you see a lot of people will quit. But I mean, this is the team that is 93-20. So I don't understand how anybody who's a City fan could possibly ever think a game is over, but they do. And that's because they still haven't won. It really hurts them that they haven't won the Champions League yet because it's not about money at City anymore. They have the money. Now it's about quality and maintaining it. And so
Well, I mean, that's the way it was at Chelsea.
I
Yeah.
completely disagree with you though. I don't see City winning this.
You don't?
I don't see City winning the Champions League.
Who then?
I've told you PSG. Because almost because of what Patrick is saying. You line up against that PSG squad, who are you lining up against? The number 1 and the number 2 off of the biggest tournament we just had. The number 1 goal scorer. I mean, you can talk about Haaland all you want. Mbappe still leads all of it. So with all of it being lined up, Mbappe versus Haaland,
See, the thing about PSG that concerns me is the collective.
PSG.
I mean, you start looking at that team in general, and yeah, you got Neymar, Messi, Hakimi, Mbappe. You know, you start going down the list and you see talent, but then you also start to see holes. You don't see those holes in Man City's team. You just don't. And you know, I think that if you have a 2-game tie, Man City's going to come out probably 4-2 in the end. Just truthfully.
I agree.
And what I was going to say was Lewis, that mindset is what Chelsea had, you know, and in 2012 specifically, you could tell, even though that Chelsea team lost 3-1 at Napoli, that Chelsea team still believed that they were going back home and they were going to get that result that they needed, and they were going to advance. And
best home record the Bridge has ever seen during that span.
Yeah.
Of guys, we knew we were going to go. We knew we'd at least win the game,
and that's the mindset. That's the mindset.
All we needed was goals. Yeah.
Yep, that's the mindset, and that's the thing. I mean, even when that Chelsea team went down, well, let's see, when they went down against they were up on Barcelona, if I remember right, in Barca. But, you know, even when they went down 10 men, they still had the fight. And I think that's the thing that Pep has really worked on, not only, of course, again, the backing, but Pep has really worked on that mindset. And I think you're going to see that over this next few weeks because they got to get back into that rhythm. But that said, I mean, I'm really excited about Arsenal City. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And you know, master pupil situation is going to be kind of fun to watch too.
I think so.
I think that you're 100% right. It's going to be awesome. I think that the big difference in the City PSG matchup is in the midfield. But I think, again, segues are really weird. And we'll move on to the Chelsea-Bournemouth matchup. My biggest takeaway from this one is they seem to have figured out the spacing of what he's trying to do. What do you think, guys?
I was quite happy with it. It was
Nice.
exactly what I expected, truthfully.
Mount.
It was exactly what I expected. I expected Chelsea to show organization, some creativity. Losing Reece is going to suck, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was.
Only 3 weeks.
You know, just a month ago, even.
Yep.
I think that this team has an idea of what to do. Jorginho looked really good. I thought he was a little bit undervalued. But I mean, that pass that he played to Mount, to then Mount played to Sterling to Havertz. I mean, we haven't had that link up play.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had that link up play in 2-3 years easily. At least since the Champions League run.
It's a great goal for sure.
Sterling.
And you know what
Sterling.
I think?
Why did Mount decide to create all of a sudden?
Because he finally was able to play the cam, because I think Zakara has the speed we've been missing in the midfield. Kova and Georgie aren't fast. They both know that. And they both have to play knowing that. Georgie played like he had N'Golo behind him, and wasn't scared to just kind of sit in those spatial and create. And he knew the link to Mount. Mount knew the link to the wing. That's what won us the Champions League. Is that system right there, is having that, because we don't have N'Golo. It really, I'm telling you, like, that is you want to talk about puzzle pieces to a team. That man was the glue. It's like they see what we think Sadio Mane was to Bayern or to over there at Liverpool, how they kind of sunk. They can't get their attacking game. That's why our midfield is absolutely in shambles. We don't have anybody to really step up. Kova's a great midfielder. I'm not taking anything away from him. I won't any day of the week. He's a brute. I love watching him play midfield. He's definitely middle European mindset. I'm just baller man. Like I'm here. But Zakara has that speed and can make up ground, and Georgie knows that, and it connected because Mount could stay in the 10. He could stay in the cam, and that is huge for us because we have to have that if we want any of our forward play to score. And Mount did what he does best: sit on the outside of the box, catch you one like old Frankie, place it exactly where you want it. That's exactly what got him on first team, was playing like Frank Lampard, was being that guy for Chelsea. He needs to play the cam. Potter finally kind of got it together, and the team finally figured out how to play him at the cam because he wasn't lost. He knew his position. He knew what he was supposed to be doing, and he tracked back. He played like he was going to maintain the space. And I really think Zakara gets undercut here. I really do. I mean, yeah, he catches the hook in the game in the 82nd, but I thought it brought a whole different mindset view. Yeah, I thought it brought a whole different.
It's not for Mount. He's the man of the match.
Mount has the stat sheet for the game, so yeah, I think he would get my.
But Zakara doing what he did, let Mount do what he did.
100%.
It was like Chelsea was playing a double pivot, and one thing that I really noticed while I was watching was Zakara was dropping deep. I mean, he was coming, getting the ball. Georgie was playing a little bit further up, and Georgie was actually able to play balls forward. He was not playing. He wasn't playing horizontal. He was looking for an actual passing lane. And Chelsea was on the attack, and I've got to give Havertz a lot of credit because he could have fluffed that. He really could. To see him actually finish it was.
Look at these jaded Chelsea fans. Just.
I don't like Kai either.
I like Kai. I like Kai.
FIFA style for a tap in, and the Chelsea fans are like, "Oh my god, he's gonna miss. He's gonna miss."
Right. Because we've seen Kai.
We have seen him.
It's not a big game. It's not a big game. Kai's not going to score. It's not a big game. Kai don't care. But for Kai to come in and play the 9 for us, I thought was a different look too, because I mean, usually we just stuff Yachty up there and just say, have at it, have a show. I thought Pulisic out on the left.
He was fantastic. He
had a great game.
He gave them width. He opened up space for Havertz. It was probably the best game he's played for Chelsea in the last year and a half. Easily.
PK or not?
It would have been soft. It'd been very, very soft. I could see calling it, but that would have been super soft.
Here's the thing though, right? If that's not a PK, then what happened to us at Milan definitely ain't a PK, because it's the same play. It's grabbing the front of the jersey. It's grabbing the front of the man and pulling him.
Y'all should go back and watch that podcast. I was.
That was a podcast.
That was. I was so mad that day watching that game.
It ruined the game.
I texted Xavier. That's the worst experience. That's the worst example of refereeing I've ever seen in my life. I was upset that day.
The rules are rules, and if we're going to abide by the rules, VAR should have called that a PK.
Rules schmools.
He grabbed the front of my man. It was soft. Pulisic knew, but see, that's the thing about the strikers now, and that's why Neymar caught 2 yellows.
They're going down so easy. They're going down so easy. That's why he didn't get the call, because he went down like a dead fish.
My man got ejected because of that today or yesterday.
Well, he deserved
that.
That
Was today. Yeah, that was today.
That was today. Yeah, today. Yeah.
I will also say, just on the Chelsea front, I thought that it was actually pretty easy. There was really there's a couple moments there where you kind of are like, okay, is the defense gonna crumble here? But I thought it was pretty easy. I will say though, and I've loved Dave since we've gotten him. When we landed him, I told somebody, I was like, this is going to solve our right back issue for 10 years, or at least 5 years. And they laughed at me, but he's so far past it. He is so far past it. When he comes in, it's a totally different team, and that's not fair to him. It's just he doesn't have the speed. We've got to make a signing there. And I heard through Sky Sports that we're looking at Joseph. God, what was his last name? Either he's the Celtic right back. Us and Barcelona and somebody else was looking at Atletico are looking at him for this winter transfer, and Chelsea needs to get him. They're going to have to if they're going to really push here to get Champions League. I know Reese is only out 3 weeks, but I think it's going to be closer to 6. Once you talk about getting back into fitness and all that, I think it'll be closer to 6. And with this match congestion that we're seeing, I mean, Liverpool plays Friday, then they play Monday. Chelsea.
Should there be some scrutiny on the Chelsea medical team?
Of course.
Yeah.
Do you not think Chile and Cucurella can play those wings, like those backs? I have full faith and confidence that Chilwell and Cucurella could hold down both left and right back position, and we should we 100%.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Well, Cuckoo didn't maraud forward at all.
No,
You noticed that, right?
he sat back.
That's
As
why
he
Pulisic was able to stay so wide. Cuckoo
Right.
stayed back, and James didn't go forward as much as he used to either. And personally, I think that is what allowed y'all to get the rotation right, because no one was in each other's way like normal. But Bournemouth switched to a back four. Did y'all notice that? They started with the back three, and then in like the 30th minute, they switched to a back four. And I felt like y'all struggled a little bit in the second half. And there was some, I got it in my notes here. It says there was some unpunished errors that against the better teams of the world might have made this game a bit different. And you said it, Patrick. It looked easy because Bournemouth didn't offer much.
Right.
Solanke pretty much missed a sitter on a header. He just pushed that one wide, and then there was another ball into the box that was a little bit concerning. But again, I thought 2-1 was going to be the result. Getting 2-0 out of it, I was happy with it. And
Thiago tried to give him one.
Yeah.
He tried his best.
Yeah.
To give him a point blank.
But I think that there was a lot to take from this. I wish it was more of a complete game, but you saw some of the stuff that I was expecting to see from Potter in the beginning, but you also saw some of that organization that's been lacking. And Zakara, I mean, like you said, Zakara, unsung hero. He played so well. And I mean, and I think that, I think you're right, X. Georgie and Kober, they're not the same player, but they almost play the same.
Right.
And
they play the same position with two different mentalities. Right.
Yeah. Zakara, like I said, it was sort of like a double pivot. Zakara was covering. Georgie was covering. Georgie was able to play up. Zakara had a couple chances to score.
It was a classic box to box.
Yeah.
Classic box to box.
So I thought, it was very encouraging compared to what we've seen. I mean, Chelsea went 6 hours without a goal, so it was nice to get to. But yeah, I felt a lot better about going into this run in. Maybe until January 5th when we have to play City, but maybe we could get 3 points at Nottingham and start to get some momentum.
That's the litmus test, right?
To
see if you've really got it. Because I mean, when it comes down to it, this Champions League race isn't going to be. Arsenal, City are going to be the title race, but the Champions League race is going to be hot.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough, and you got to win the big games at home. And speaking of winning games at home, we'll go ahead and start right out on my soapbox with the Arsenal game. Man, what planet? Tell me, what planet does the deflection off the shoelace constitute a pass to make this goal offsides?
Man, you know the funny thing is, I saw that, and twice I looked. I'm like, where is the offsides? Like I was looking for it, and then they showed it, and I'm like, oh, is that what? Oh, I like, oh,
Gross. It's disgusting.
That it's because of how serious. I don't know where or when. I mean, I'm sure we could figure out when. But they have taken offsides. It went from being like, all right, yeah, his hand is offsides, but he wasn't like leading his man, so yeah, he's good. Like the rest would get together and talk about it. Now it is literally like if your fingernail is past it, like nothing that even plays on the guy. That's my problem with it. If my hand is offsides, I can't play the ball with my hand. I'm not offsides.
The mist from
But
your
anyway.
breath on a cold day will make you offsides.
Will
now.
be offsides. They've taken it so serious now to where, again, like that was both. Again, you want to talk about soft calls? I thought there was some of them in the World Cup was like, again,
They
if
had
that
robots
was
doing it in the World Cup, and they were still getting run.
again right, but again, if that was offsides, I don't know how my man wasn't offsides in the final when Messi scored his goal, because it was the exact same. Like it's the exact same thing. My man's leaning over, like.
Sir, they've made a petition about that, so clearly you're making a point because they agree with your point there. So I'm gonna leave that there. Yes, I'm gonna leave that there.
Yeah.
They think he was offsides
If
too.
you're gonna take it like that, where if that goal is offsides, I'm sorry. So is again the consistency with VAR is our issue, and that'll be my biggest complaint. Talking about this one is again the consistency here. Again, how is that considered offsides when it's not a play? It should be, again, the rule book, right? It says a play on the ball or impedes play that is happening. Like, bro, that is not impeding or enabling a play on the ball.
Well, it's so funny because it was it did touch him. But you're like,
it didn't change direction. Like,
I know. I'm like, but they went by the letter. Like,
well, I think this is. I mean, if we want to get to the root of this, I think it's the FA. They still don't understand VAR. They don't. They just. I mean, you see some of these offside calls that come up. 3 minutes, and I'm kind of exaggerating, but like 30 seconds later, it's like, okay, it was offsides. It's like just call it. You don't see this in La Liga. You don't see this in Bundesliga. They've got it down. And I mean, I at least understand in the World Cup why they didn't call that offsides, because by law, by the rule, what was offside could not be played. The ball could not be played to. But I mean, that's just the way it is, But the freaking Premier League sitting here and they're looking, at millimeters and they get the lines out and you're just like, what? Is his foot offside or is his knee offside? No, okay, then let's stop looking at the hand.
The London Observatory watching the game with the telescope, like.
And I think it's honestly just because the FA still doesn't understand VAR.
It's sad, is what it is. It's just sad to take it that technical.
When you hear about uniforms having chips, I bet the uniforms and the shoes will start having chips in them.
The players do. They wear them.
They do.
They wear them.
And the ball has a chip in it. Well,
I know
at least in the World Cup, the ball had a chip in it.
The ball has a freaking a chip in it now that senses gyros, like if you touched it or not. Or that's why the Ronaldo's wasn't a goal. His hair touched it, but he made no movement on the ball, so the ball didn't register.
His hair didn't touch
that forever.
His hair still didn't touch it.
One hair.
What? One shoelace. It's the same claim.
Speaking of jokes, the very next decision, my man Jared Bowen takes 3 full steps, and has a shot, then goes down and gets a penalty.
But he didn't die.
Like a 4-second VAR check.
He didn't dive. He kept going. So you give him
At least it
credit.
wasn't Pulisic. It went down, right?
Yeah,
I don't understand. I don't understand this one.
Yeah, I didn't get that one either. I was like, hey, it was super delayed.
Well, again, if we're going to go to the letter of the law, if my man's offsides going by letter of the law, let's go to the letter of the law. Advantage was played. He took his shot. He chose to miss it. He chose not to go down. He chose not to stop play.
Yep.
As a
Advantage was played.
We're trained to
Advantage
fall
was
on
played,
top of the
so-
ball if we don't like what's going on.
I don't know if y'all remember, but Michael Oliver, the referee for this game, he got sent home from the
he
World.
did.
I don't know if y'all remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand Michael Oliver.
Had he been the Uruguay ref, he probably would have just got absolutely Green Street hooligan.
You know he's gonna get the City Arsenal game, right?
No.
I'll put money on that.
He is. Of course he will.
I'm gonna put money on that. He'll get that game. I promise
of course
you.
he will.
Please no.
Don't look shocked, Jake. You know he's gonna get that game.
He's the lead ref in FA right now, so of course he's going to get it.
Isn't
Of
he like
course he's the lead ref in FA. These clowns. Oh my goodness.
Yo, that's
Hey,
honestly.
did you see the guy that Chelsea had yesterday? Yesterday. He was terrible. Horrible.
Not great at all. Oh my god.
Which I think this is a discussion that we need to have when we don't have a week of 20 games. But why is officiating so bad now?
Because if you have I can't be an official. I love the game. I would play it really old school. I would let you remember who's the bald guy running around with the bug eyes?
Howard Webb?
Webb.
Yeah.
Mr. United himself.
But I can't be a ref because I would affect the table so much in Chelsea's favor every season. That's not a PK. Y'all don't need to win this game because if y'all win next week, y'all are tied with it. I'd be doing. You think Ivan Toney's betting was bad? Let me be a Premier League ref. That's all I'm gonna say.
How about Howard Dean? Was it Howard Dean? Yeah, Howard Dean, right?
Yep. No, Howard Webb, right? Is it Webb?
No. There was Webb, but what was
Mike Dean. You're talking about
Mike Dean?
Yeah,
Mike
Dean.
Dean. That guy, I think he hates Tottenham.
Yeah, I think so.
He got so excited to call fouls against them compared to any other game.
Yellow.
What's crazy is that sometimes they get it right, though, right? Okay, so I will go ahead and say it. The one where they overturned our penalty was the right call. They used, and Peter Drury, he goes, and that is how VAR is the best example of how VAR is supposed to be used. I was like, come on, man, really? It's one, the blind squirrel found a nut. Come on, guys. This is but yeah, they got that one right. Dirk Cresswell closes his eyes and prays to whoever that he doesn't, that it doesn't hit his hand and he gets lucky.
Right.
But I did want to mention how even though we went down and even though there was the controversy, we never looked rattled.
No, yeah.
I never
That was an
thought
enjoyable game.
that I was never worried really. I was pissed off. But I thought that again, as we did the same thing we always do. Odegaard ran the game, has the man of the match performance. He wanted a goal so bad. He took 4 or 5 shots.
And I honestly think this too because I had a little bit of reserve going into this game for you guys. I didn't know how this Arsenal team was going to look up top without the workhorse, without Jesus, because he's been a very much so of a focal point in your games because of the workload that he'll take on in the game. It did not look like y'all missed him one bit.
No.
I would say even for the first 45, even when you didn't have anything on the board, the work rate was there from all of you. I thought Saka had a great game. Martinelli, I would buy Martinelli and put him on my squad any day of the week.
Yeah.
I have always been a fan.
Oh yeah,
Martinelli.
big fan of
I
Martinelli.
love the way he plays. I love his workload. I like his heart. I like the passion. I would buy that kid so fast and put him on my squad and make him a focal point in that starting 11. If not, make him a super sub. Oh my goodness. Y'all didn't look like y'all missed Gabriel Jesus, which I thought was very much so a win on top of the win that you're going to take from this. So the 3 points, you need to stay on top of the league. But you showed everybody hey, our main guy isn't really our main guy. It's just, he plays that main position. which I think showed tenfold here against West Ham.
I think Eddie's performance was typical. It was typical of Eddie Nketiah. He in the first half, I think he should have done better a couple of times, maybe 3 times.
He's young, isn't he?
You know, he's young for sure, but I thought that in this game he worked a lot more than he usually does. He was coming back for the ball a bit more, he's linking up play, and I think his goal. I mean, he usually scores when he plays. He normally scores. Get this: 11 goals in 11 starts. In his last 11 starts, where he's played from the beginning, he's got 11 goals.
Guess who I'm starting next week? Right. Like,
You know, and so I thought that right up until he scored, I was like, it's an
ooh, I bet he's
acceptable
cheap
it's
on
an
fantasy.
acceptable performance, you know.
I bet he's
And then-
cheap on fantasy. That'd be a good way to get a goal.
What a goal, man.
I bet
What
he's cheap on fantasy.
What a goal, though. To that turn in the
It was
box.
a goal.
I mean, that goal was nice. That was a really well taken goal. He's got all the pressure, saying, you got these huge boots to fill. I think he filled them wonderfully.
I do too. I thought absolutely. You know, and I want to say one thing, caveat towards Chelsea in this game. I cannot wait to buy Declan Rice. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Can't wait to buy Declan Rice.
He got swamped, bro.
He did.
Who else is helping him in this
Nobody.
game?
Nobody.
Right. No one is helping him in this
Nobody.
game. And y'all absolutely commanded the midfield. Thomas Partey is going to do what Thomas Partey does. Odegaard actually had a really good game, but I actually don't like the way Odegaard plays. That's just me. But
Hate us
You
because
can
they
get
hate him.
Nketiah
Because
for
you need somebody in your
6.5
team
million.
doing what Odegaard does.
no, because we have him. He's just on the bench on crutches and probably going to be in an electric wheelchair when he comes back as well. Like, I'm salty. It's okay.
Every time, if you go back and look at these highlights, because every time West Ham had the ball, it's good defense. It's like a good defensive highlight. They didn't have anything, and I think Arsenal.
30% possession or something like that. Yeah.
It wasn't good. Arsenal. I think when we go back to looking at the way City play and trying to figure out how to beat City, Leeds did not have the ball today at all. That's what's so hard with the best teams is you just can't ever get the ball off of them. And Arsenal, if you don't win the second ball, the knockdown, you're not ever gonna have possession. Arsenal will keep the ball all day.
657 passes.
I mean, Partey doesn't give the ball up. Partey doesn't
Oh.
give the ball up. Xhaka doesn't give the ball up. Odegaard doesn't give the ball away. Like, the only guys that are giving the ball away are when they're trying to ram it down your throat on the wings, or trying something real intricate in the middle. I thought we kind of got a little narrow at times in this game, and we're trying to, that tiki-taka stuff that, kind of Wenger ball, 17 passes in the box before we tap it home kind of stuff.
Arsenal your way to a goal, as I like to call it.
But, speaking of Wenger ball, my man was in the stadium for the
He
first.
was.
That was awesome.
It was like,
I
what,
didn't
2 years,
realize-
right?
Huh?
Since he's been
It was-
fired.
It was
Yeah.
like 2 years ago, right?
Since he
Yeah,
left
It's been like
since
5
he
years.
Since he left and joined FIFA and started working for FIFA, he has not been to a home game.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a while. It was good to see him, though.
It was great.
Yeah, it
to
was
see.
great. It was great. And they the fans at one point the fans started singing like a song that they used to sing to him. It was a real
Yeah.
cool moment, and he started
No, you
waving.
see Man United talking about songs. I guess segues are weird. Man United came up with a new song about Ronaldo. Hilarious.
That was great. I heard that.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that one too. Yeah.
Do we have to talk about United? I mean, is it
We don't
necessary?
have to.
No, I mean not really.
No, we don't have
Not really.
That's
Also,
a
what is
great, that's a
Ten
great
Hag
way to
doing?
skip over United, actually.
Like
You know
seriously,
what?
what is he doing?
Great way to just. That was it. That's all we're going to talk about with United. It's just, hey, they came up with a new song.
We can give him 4.5 seconds. We can give him.
My issue is just that I'm not questioning. Casemiro has always been world class as a holding mid, but I mean, because he had a game against, Nottingham Forest, he's a world beater now. I mean, come on, man. I
He didn't have that great of a game.
It's just the way to say that he's like not over the hill. Like
Yeah.
it's like Gareth Bale coming and winning a trophy at the MLS. It's like, oh, okay, like that's
But
all that is.
it's just the narrative driving is just so sad because it's something they need to have United in the news. So, I mean, how many posts have you seen across different sports outlets where is Casemiro better than this person? They're like, come on, man. It was Nottingham Forest, man. Come on, dude. They ain't beat nobody.
Maybe like 4 years ago, but Casemiro is like my age, so no, he's not got long left playing that position. I can go ahead and tell you that.
He's
Like,
older than you.
Well,
older
He's
than
older than
me.
me. Cashmere's older than I am, dude.
Oh, that's not good. That's not
He's
good.
like, what, 34, right?
That's not good.
Yeah.
My boy's
Hey,
rocking
now.
like Thiago Silva out here, just
Hey,
playing
now.
the back line. Like, no, that's not good. It's not good.
And what?
On it, no.
What?
We're in
Seriously,
trouble.
what has Ten Hag got against Maguire?
I thought he
Why
was
he
sick or
just-
something.
Ten Hag.
Then why was he on the bench?
Mhm.
He's trash.
He's
That's
trash.
what we've got against him.
Okay.
He's awful.
Trash.
So do they sell him this window?
No.
Who's
No,
gonna buy
you
him?
trade him for the washing machine. Like, you don't sell him.
My point being though is like, I mean, with Varane covering for him, I think you could probably get. I mean, it's not like it's Phil Jones by any means.
What
Did
do you
you
mean
know-
Phil Jones is the greatest center back ever?
Did you notice the way they were playing? Did you notice what they were doing? He realizes that Maguire is so bad that he would rather, when they have the ball, Luke Shaw be the guy in the middle. So when they had the ball, Casemiro stepped into the center of the midfield and was in the center defensive midfield role. Varane and Shaw were the two guys in the center, and Malacia would push up. They would push up, and so they'd only have two in the back, and Casemiro in front of them, but he would just slot back when it was time to defend. Like, what's so special about that? And it wasn't even like he had a great game. Forrest didn't do anything
They can't.
at all. They're terrible.
They're terrible.
Well,
Like-
clearly, it was enough to be the greatest center defensive mid on the planet
Yeah.
for
I mean-
3 days consecutively talking about nothingness.
It's
That's
just
all
that-
they got. They beat Forest. They got to come up with something. They can't be like, oh, we're good because we beat Forest. They got to highlight Casemiro because they know no one can talk smack on him because, I mean, he's got a record. He's got a career.
Yeah, it's not like I'm not calling him a loser, but it's like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
No, right. I think I don't think he should have went to United. Again, learn from others' mistakes. Like, don't
Hey,
go to
man.
United if you're trying to, like, save your legacy there, guy.
But if you're trying to get paid, you go there, and that's what he did.
That's what he did. Yes.
I honestly think that
Yeah.
that this is exactly what those people who are trying to push this narrative want. This game was not about him.
No.
Like the real points, the real takeaways from this game. Marcus Rashford is loving life without Ronaldo. That's
Yes,
one
he
thing.
is.
And the other for me is that still, Forest have no identity. There's no teamwork. They don't really know what's going on. I thought Awani looked bright at times, but by himself, when he was doing things by himself. When Emmanuel Dennis came on, he was doing things by himself, and he looked halfway decent. I feel really bad for Jesse Lingard. Like he was halfway decent for United, and then just gets shunted. He played 240 appearances for Man U, and then
He did.
They shipped him off to.
he's at Forest. They're
I know
terrible.
he's at
But they
Forest.
shipped him off to
They
somewhere
shipped him
before
off
Was he
then.
there before that?
Was he at West Ham?
He was at West Ham or something like that for a season, and then they shipped him off, and then he was like, "Well, I guess I got to stay in the league. I'll go to the last place team." They just got promoted.
We're getting relegated, so that's gone.
Yeah, Forest are getting relegated for sure.
I think Jesse Lingard got the biggest applause in the whole game. Sadly, it was Diego. It was Diego Costa.
Diego
moment.
Costa walk around.
Wrong, yeah.
Oh,
That was the highlight of this game, actually. Yeah.
That was great. That was so great.
Is that a segue?
That is
Diego
segue
Costa
into the Wolves.
point is the
Yes, it
segue.
is. Yeah.
Into
Why
the
not?
Wolves game.
Oh my God.
I love it.
What has happened to Everton?
They are
Yo.
bad. Jesus, they're bad. They're bad.
I mean,
Well, they got rated.
but they had a good. But this season though, they for like 10 weeks, 9 weeks, were up there with Arsenal and City as far as defense, as far
Fewer
as
goals. Yeah,
giving
but no
goals.
one
But
could score
see,
on.
but this
No
is the
one
problem
scored.
with Frank, and this is the problem that he had at Chelsea. He runs that team into the ground. You watched him at Chelsea, and they were pressing for 65, 70 minutes, and then they were
Well, yeah,
dead.
these guys ain't built like you are, Frank. Like you can't play that game no more, buddy. Like
I
that's the
mean,
problem. That honestly is the problem with Frank.
Yeah.
That's the problem with that was the problem with Gerard. That's going to be the problem with Terry if he gets into a spot. Those guys, those big Prem, that era of player wants to coach their team like the game is still played that way.
mhm.
Frank has locker room rules where he charges these boys just like he did over at Chelsea. You show up to the locker room an hour late, that's $2,000. You show up to practice late, that's $5,000. And you're sitting 15 minutes or whatever it is. Like he's got a list and he runs it such a tight ship where I think Patrick, I think you're absolutely right. It's hard for managers like that to stay likable and have their guys be gassed. And I
Mhm.
mean like gas as in like give a like
Yeah.
gas. Like it's
And
hard to
I
keep that in
also
there.
think he just runs that team like even at Chelsea when he had the talent to press like they did. I mean, because you had young talent. He was using the academy. Those guys were still 65 minutes. You
He
might
won't
as well
have
just expect Chelsea to get overran at that point because they've been pressing for 65, 70 minutes, and
I
they're
mean,
dead.
did they play the draw here? Like when they went level, I felt like this game completely died in the sense where they were like, okay, both teams were okay with taking a point. And then it was just broke loose in the 90th, got one, now we're walking away with 3.
Yeah, yeah.
I that's how I felt when I watched it
No one can score for Everton.
in and out. I like Anthony Gordon.
No.
I don't want to buy him.
I wouldn't buy him.
But
I like him.
But he fluffed it from point blank. If it's Darwin Nunez, we're taking a dump on him
Well, because
Yeah.
he was 50 mil. No one's paying 50 mil for Anthony Gordon.
because he's not worth it.
Because neither is Darwin.
They're missing Calvert-Lewin.
They are.
Yes.
They really are.
They're
Heavily.
missing Calvert-Lewin. Neil Maupay is just doesn't cut it.
No.
I mean, did you see the breakaway he had where like 4 guys caught him?
Yeah. Dead. Supposed to be a one-on-one with the keeper, and
Yeah.
all of those defenders beat him to the 18.
Really, what it comes down to in this one for me was how do you switch off in the 93rd minute and give the game? Frankie's in for another relegation fight, man.
Mhm. I don't think he
if
gets out of
if
it
he
this
makes it
time.
that far. I don't know if
Sorry
he
to
makes it.
say, yeah, you're right. If he's still around, because they're 2 off the drop. I mean, they're 2 off the bottom, not the drop. They're 2 off the bottom in 17th.
And that Everton job's not a bad job, so they'll be able to get somebody there. So
Well, they just
I
had a
don't.
takeover, didn't they?
Yeah, that's why I don't know if
So
he
I mean,
makes
they're
it.
gonna invest, but I don't know. I think Frank's still out of his element at Premier League. He needs to go back to like a derby somewhere like that where he can play younger guys, build a team up, and really get his team working. He can't just jump into a situation and just say, "Okay, we're gonna put it all together."
Humility versus pride.
I mean, he's had almost a whole year now, though.
Well, no,
Humility
I
versus
get
pride.
that, but
I think
just
you're right. I think you're right. 100%.
yeah.
He got to be Vincent
Petr Cech
Company.
came in. Petr Cech knew better. He said, I'm going to go coach the goalies. I'm a goalie. I'm going to go coach the goalkeeping squad at the academy and at the first team. Frank should have came in and coached our midfield before he took over the management job. He should have coached our midfield up until this Boyley. We wouldn't have Potter. We wouldn't have this issue. If Frank was here coaching and being in the runs, watching, taking notes, learning under Tuchel, and then boom, now Tuchel's gone, this would be a good time for Frank Lampard to take over because then he'd have had all the training and the upbringing. like you're saying, maybe I don't think he needs to go as low as a Derby. I think they.
Well,
can
he was
handle-
at Derby, and that's what got him to Chelsea.
I think he can handle the Everton job. I don't see them sacking him. I mean, that's not just my love
I
for
think they
Frank.
do.
I don't, because he did what he was supposed to last season, and I don't think much has changed because I don't think the budget was given to him to change much. They
better
got
buy
raided.
somebody.
They got raided. They didn't have. I don't think they have the funds to replace it. Everton knows that. I think Everton's fine as long as they don't get relegated.
Ooh, it's not good. It's not looking good, man, because he needs something positive really soon. It's not coming next week.
Not against City, it ain't.
It ain't coming. It ain't coming on New Year's Eve.
If they hold City to a 0-0
at the Empty Head, they're not
at home. No
way.
No way.
Yeah, that's not
They're
happening.
gonna get smashed.
At
They
home?
just lost to the worst team in the league. They're gonna get smashed, bro.
No.
It's not gonna be good.
Haaland didn't get his hat trick either. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
But we'll march alone to the other side of Liverpool for the Villa Liverpool game. I thought that
horrible.
lots
I
of
thought
missed
it was
chances in this game on both
Nunez.
sides.
Liverpool should not have won this
Darwin
game.
Noodles.
I think if Southampton had any amount of gusto to them,
Villa.
Liverpool did not deserve this game. They didn't deserve this
You
game.
mean Villa? You
I'm
said
talking about
Southampton.
Liverpool.
Right.
Yeah,
You said
Liverpool,
Southampton.
Oh, Villa. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Villa.
No,
Yeah,
Liverpool
they
did
both,
not
but
deserve
both sides missed a host of chances. Ollie Watkins, like, I know I would love to throw some shade at Darwin Noodles because he Lukaku style misses, but Ollie Watkins had some point blank diving header he should have scored. Leon Bailey should have scored. I think that the defense decided to take a break in this game. It was a fun one. I thought it was a good game to watch. To be honest with you. But Villa just couldn't handle the press.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that a lot of the commentary initially is, obviously Nunez, the price tag. But then people made some points, which I'm trying to see, is that but his mere presence on the field was enough to create, which I guess, if he's big and fast, you're like, he might make one of those. So, it's, I guess I could see that because, his presence did affect, how the opponents play them. So if you got two guys up front with Salah and Nunez, for sure one of them will clinically finish. You can't. He's enough to draw attention from you where you do have to watch him because Salah plays the ball to him. So I think Nunez is who he is, and I think just the price tag made it worse for him to be where he is in the position, especially since he's supposed to replace Mane. Even though not a like for like, but
No, not even close.
But
No,
I think it makes.
But he was really hyped too. It's just not the price tag.
Right.
Yeah, he was supposed to fill exactly.
Well, he's supposed to be better than Haaland.
But at the end of the day, you spend $80 million, you gotta score. You gotta score goals. That dude has to score goals.
Is the pressure too big for Darwin? He's kind of young.
Yes.
He's 23, but you get that many chances in a Liverpool shirt. Gotta do it.
Torres did it. Yeah, gotta do it.
He might as well try to Jossie's artist one in at this point, just so he can get on the score.
Punch one in.
Well, he's gonna get some chances since they have a crap ton of games coming up, so he's gonna play in all of them probably.
Liverpool creates so many chances with Alexander Arnold dumping balls in and Robertson
on a dime.
Speaking of
Liverpool,
what do we think about that transfer of Gakpo?
That's another thing about
They bought him to screw over Man U. They didn't buy him to keep him in the squad. They bought him to say, "Oh, Man U, we got your boy."
It's interesting, right? Because if all of their forwards are healthy,
where does he play?
Where does he start? Right.
For me, if all of their forwards are healthy, Nunez is like 4th, 5th.
Right. Yota starts over you.
You know, Jota Diaz Sala for me, or
Yeah.
or even Firmino. That's what I'm saying. You know,
But isn't
Bobby!
Diaz out for the year?
Who
I think
Bobby's
Diaz
a
is out for the year, isn't he?
is he?
I think so.
yeah, I
I
don't
may
know.
be wrong, but I
It's
think
long
he
term.
is.
Diaz
It's
is
very long term.
Oh, Diaz.
yeah.
So I mean, maybe maybe they've decided that Nunez isn't it, and we're gonna try something else.
I saw a meme. I should have sent it to you guys. It was Liverpool next season, and it had 6 forwards, 2 midfielders,
And Van Dyke.
3 defenders. Yeah.
Speaking of awful decisions, that green kit was terrible. That green kit from Liverpool.
Oh yeah.
It was bad. I was not a fan of that. That was pretty gross. You know.
It's just make money. It's not for anything else but to make money.
Yeah, buy this fancy
true.
kit. Yeah.
Speaking of
It actually costs more than our regular kit.
Yeah, exactly.
speaking of other things that, you know, turn your stomach and are really, really gross. Same old Spurs. Same old Spurs.
Love it.
Ooh.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean,
I was rooting for Brentford, man. I
Speaking
won't
of
lie.
songs, Kane got roasted. Kane got roasted.
He did.
oh my god.
You knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming too.
Oh
You knew
yeah.
it was
We knew it was
coming.
coming. We just didn't know how brutal it was going to be. No,
From the English fans.
And my boy Ivan Toney out
British
here.
soccer chance, man. Yeah. Oh my goodness,
You
man.
knew Tony was gonna get one though. You knew he
Oh,
was
oh,
gonna
yeah.
get one.
Man,
I thought my boy was going to get in trouble for this betting stuff.
Well,
Teflon Tony.
he has like a month to respond or something like that. He's got like 3 or 4 weeks to respond, and he's not. They're not going to suspend him until the hearing or whatever. You know.
And
Which will happen in June.
At that point,
Yeah.
I'd play at that point,
Teflon
too.
Tony.
Teflon Tony.
I
Yo,
was
if
in
he
La
gets
Liga
through
by
this,
then.
that's his name.
I'm an Ivan Toney fan, you know. But what's
too.
crazy,
Love him.
what's crazy to me is that Spurs didn't do anything different than they always do. Neither did Brentford. It's not like they're bringing anything new. It's not like they're mixing it up. You know, you knew what Tony and Mbomo are capable of. You know what they're gonna do. They're gonna try to win that second ball and then hit really fast, and that's what they did. And it's like, at what point does Spurs realize they just can't defend? Like, your whole strategy is built around defending really well and countering, but you don't defend well.
No.
I'm ready for the Conte collapse. It's gonna be beautiful to watch.
It's just sad. My point. If you look at Conte, everywhere he's gone, he's won, which means Spurs have to be the most cursed team ever. Mourinho won everywhere. Conte won. Somehow you got 2 of the winningest guys, and they can't win there. With Harry Kane and Son on the same team, and a World Cup. I'm gonna throw Lloris out there just for the World Cup, and a World Cup winning goalkeeper right there. You can't win, and I'm confused.
They don't have anyone to create.
Yep.
Emil Højbjerg
Yep.
is not your creator. He's not the guy that you know. Rodrigo Bentancur was injured. He wasn't even in this game. He's not the guy. He's
The
not.
Spurs' best chance of ever winning anything was back when they had Eriksson, Bale,
Yeah.
Modric. That was it. They
Yeah.
had a squad.
For a
That was
minute
it. That was
there, yeah.
That was the golden age of the Spurs. Ever since then, they wasted. See, the difference between a good
Vandervaart
squad,
too, didn't they?
a good
Brought
football
Van
squad,
Vaart, yeah.
they took all that Bale money and did this with it. They took all that Modric money and did this with it. That's what the beautiful thing about not being a Tottenham Spurs fan is because we didn't flush $300 million players down the drain with Harry Kane, Son, and Perisic and Højbjerg.
But you gave that though to Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte. Like I don't understand, man. So because then it just, as a City fan, it throws away the whole money thing. Like, you just can't buy teams. You could have the best manager in the world. The money ain't gonna fix it for you. Spurs is Spurs. They got a nice stadium though.
They do have a
yeah.
nice stadium. Yeah.
I'm
The
gonna
only
find a
reason-
silver lining.
The only reason they even got back in this game was because Brentford let up in the 65th minute. They just kind of stopped pressing. They stopped playing as far forward, and Spurs baffle me, man. They have the quality. They just don't. It's like I think you got it right, Lewis. I mean, there's some kind of bamboozlement going on. There's like a disconnect somewhere.
The curse of the what was it? The curse of the Bamboni. or whatever?
Bambino.
Curse of the
Bambino.
Bambino. It's come to Spurs now. Yeah.
You gotta
Sure.
sell Kane and Son now. Just go ahead and make it. I'm gonna go with X. Just go ahead and make 500 million off of players and just squander it away. Might as well.
If I were the
Do
Spurs
it.
right now in
Do
this
it.
summer transfer window,
Cash it.
I'm cash now. I'm selling Kane. I'm selling Son. I'm selling Højbjerg. I'm selling Lloris.
Sell the team.
I'm selling all of them. We are rebuilding.
Sell Daniel Levy.
We're not winning. Fine. If we can't win a trophy, you know what we're going to do? We're going to rebuild for the next couple years. We'll be here. We have the money. We have the stadium. Obviously, we're not going to get relegated because, Frankie G, my boy over here playing with dogs, and Nottingham Forest, who shouldn't even be here, are going to take care of that for me. So we're good. But yeah, I would sell the farm at this point. I mean, honestly, it's better for the players. And we've always said it on the pod. Kane should get out. I truly believe Son would be an amazing player.
Anywhere.
I think he should go to top tier French. I would hate to see him in the Spanish league. I really would. I want to see him go play for like PSG. I can see him go play for like Dortmund or maybe Bayern. I don't want to see him stay in the
Dortmund.
Prem.
Yeah.
I want to see him stay in the Prem. I want to see him partly because I don't like playing against him.
Unless of course he's wearing Chelsea blue.
He doesn't have a spot.
No.
We bought Sterling. We wasted the money already.
We've already wasted that money.
We already wasted that money. We bought Sterling.
Speaking of big money, Newcastle cruise at
Newcastle on fire.
They're good, man.
My boy cannot.
Omeron. What a monster he is.
What a monster.
He has like 8-8, right? Or something
He
like
won't,
that. Right?
he won't be at Newcastle long. He will not be at that.
Oh, they'll be able to afford it.
No,
don't know,
yeah,
man.
he'll be there.
They're about to.
He's got oil
They got
money
money.
behind him now, X.
I know they have the money. It's the prestige. Like Omeron,
Saudi Arabia oil money
prestige.
behind him.
No, he's gonna stay
bro.
there. He'll
What
be
do you
there.
about to X? They're about to be Champions League. Mark my
That's
words.
where Son is gonna go.
Yeah.
Newcastle.
Yes.
There you go.
Mark my words, man. You will have to beat out Newcastle for Champions League this season. Trust me.
I don't doubt
They're
that.
what in third, right?
They're
in third.
right now.
We dropped like 60 points before December. So yeah, we have to fight off a bunch of. We have to.
Yeah. They're firing on all cylinders. I don't know how Guimaraes doesn't play way more in the World Cup. My man is fantastic. I watched the first 14 minutes of this game and changed it and switched it off because I knew it was done. I knew it was gone. How?
Why does Brandon Rodgers still have a job, man?
Exactly.
I'm trying to understand
Exactly.
how does he have a job? I thought he got fired, but he didn't. And I don't wish that on anybody, but come on, man.
At least he didn't play 4 center attacking midfielders this game. At least he set up the
Baby
team
steps.
with like actual positions.
Baby steps.
Did he make a blood pact with Leicester like when they won? Like, did he like?
He must have like some blackmail on the board or something. Like he's got some kind of ace up his sleeve.
Yo,
It must be in the former owner's will, rest his soul, that you can't get rid of him. There got to be in there. There's got to be something. There's no way he should still be at that team.
No way. I honestly want to be this man's assistant at this point because how can you be this bad and still have a job? Like, I gotta know.
And he gets mentioned for like big jobs when they come open.
All the time.
They mentioned him for the Chelsea job, and I'm like, what the? No.
They mentioned him. They saw him as a replacement for Pep.
Ridiculous, man.
we
We could put a for the badge team together and we could score a corner kick on Leicester. They're trash on corner kick. They give a game on a corner kick.
I could get Brendan Rodgers to the all-time Premier 11, and he'd still end up with 14 points at the end of the season.
Oh my god, man. Yeah, it's not great. So one game I didn't actually get to watch was Brighton and Southampton, but I did watch some of the highlights just a little bit ago. And I mean, I think Brighton are a team to watch, man. They look same old Brighton, which they kept the ball, lots of energy. As far as every highlight I saw was either James Ward-Prowse missing a free kick, and this is just the Southampton half of the highlights. James Ward-Prowse missed a free kick, and then some dude I'd never heard of was like some young kid was like would like lose the ball in the box or something. Other than that, it was all Brighton, and it looked like it was a lot down the wings.
I didn't see this game at all. I just saw the
didn't
scoreline, but
Yes, I
it
know.
does make it exciting because they play Arsenal next week. So
Too tough.
You've said that. So since day one, when we've started this, you've always had that kind of motif for that opinion of this Brighton squad. Even when Potter was there, now that
Deserving.
yeah.
Deserving.
But you've always had this opinion of this young, kind of I would say out of nowhere very lightly, but Brighton squad that's competing in some of these games that they necessarily shouldn't.
Well, like I said about earlier about some of the good teams in the league that just have so much of the ball. Brighton keep the ball really, really well. They play through the press really well, and they're able to hold on to it, which is what one thing that makes them good. And they got goal scorers. Leandro
680
Trossard,
passes,
Billy March
66%.
scored.
Yeah.
And when Mac Allister comes back from Argentina, he might still be
He's
drunk.
over at Brighton.
He might still be drunk or something after celebrating the World Cup win, but he was fantastic before the tournament. I don't expect him to let up. This is gonna be a tough game for Arsenal, and I think it's at
it is at Brighton.
The Amex? Or the
No,
Emirates?
it's at Brighton.
yeah. So that's it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be an easy one. That's for sure. Meanwhile, City have an easy one.
Oh, I mean, we got to get up for Everton. I mean, you play every team worth value. So yeah.
Yes. Everyone gets up to play the big teams though, so I think Everton will show more, and City will have a bit more trouble than we're currently expecting. But speaking of not having the trouble that we expected, Palace let me down at home so much, man. Crystal Palace they've destroyed my predictions every time. Why?
Time.
Why do I continue to pick Palace to win?
Palace is for you what the Wolves were for me before the break, because I was like, oh no, Diego's gonna get one. I gotta bet on my man. I was on like Wolves 1-0 or Wolves 0-1 or at least like a 2-1 for the longest. Nah. You keep betting on Palace though. I'm liking it. Because you said it. You were a two-edged sword here. You were like Mitrovic, always gonna get one, Mitro, and then Palace.
Well, this game was the Metro show, dude. It was the 100% Metro show. It was.
Well, that or the Tim Ream show.
Yeah. I mean, Mitro got the knockdown for old Timmy Ream.
Yeah.
Mitro got 2 assists and the goal in the end.
And the goal. Yep.
My man Ream get a new contract off the back of his first ever Fulham goal. Good for him, dude. That's awesome.
At 35, that's awesome.
Flying
35 years old, scores his first goal for the club.
Flying
Here you go.
high.
Here's a couple more years. Add some zeros to your bank account.
Yeah.
And great. You'll love to see that. But yeah, like I say, just straight up Mitro show, and like it's not like we didn't expect that though. Like they knew, and that's one thing that I think he's so underrated. I mean, maybe he's not underrated, but I think he is he's an unsung hero in that team. Not in the team, but as far as in the league, I think he's one of the best forwards in the league, and I don't think he gets enough.
Who he plays for.
Well, I also think it's because, if I remember right, he was originally brought into the league by Newcastle, and he was kind of a flop there. Or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but I could have sworn he started at Newcastle.
It's been a few years, yeah.
Yeah, but he was kind of a flop there because my friend, he's a big Newcastle fan. He was really excited about him, and then he didn't do anything. And he's like, "Well, that's typical Newcastle for you under Mike Ashley."
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Mitro. This Fulham teams, they're fun to watch. Full America. But yeah, I saw a highlight and Tim Reams out here, you know, doing feints on attackers and he's
Oh
just
yeah.
toying
Oh
with
yeah.
them.
He shoots the
Hit the
guy in
guy,
the
duck
back,
and dodge. Yeah.
ice
He
in
was
the
doing it.
veins. Okay, yeah. You think Reece James is casual? Timmy
Yeah.
Reams stops to brush his shoulder off. Oh, that was great. And
Speaking of casual, has Zaha gotten out of first gear yet?
And that man's never out of first gear until he like actually wants to score a goal. Then he like it's from first to fifth, and then he's back to first. Like there's no like he's either like gunning or he's walking around the whole game.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what it is with Zaha. Like
I
he
don't
just
think I've always gotten the feeling that Zaha doesn't want to play for Palace, but like he's not good enough to play anywhere else. So like, or nowhere else will give him the nod.
he is. He just doesn't work.
Right.
He just doesn't work at all. And
Because he
it's
doesn't want to play for Palace. So it's like this big, like I've always felt like Zaha's been caught in this like double-edged, like he obviously doesn't want to play there. There was a huge controversy a couple years ago where I was like, oh, Zaha wants out. But then like no one wants him. So he's like, all right, I'll play for Palace and I'll score some goals. And Palace is more than fine footing the bill for it.
yeah.
But then he's like, screw this. I'm tired of coming in sixth. So then he doesn't want to play. Then no one wants to buy him. So he can't get out. He's stuck in the loop.
Unfortunately, I wish that this, for this particular game, that any of this mattered. Yes, it was the Mitrovic show. Yes, Zaha could have been better. Yes, they could have been better going forward, but you're not going to win a game with 9 guys. Like, James Tompkins, the first yellow card was dumb. 100 yards from his own goal. He's pulling on the guy's jersey. The ref has no choice. You said it earlier in the pod, Patrick. Like the ref has no why give the ref that opportunity? It's just such an easy that's a yellow card all day long. And then the red card, the straight red. I don't know if y'all saw that replay or if you got to watch that part of the game. Again, it's completely unnecessary, and it was just oof. It's bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's over the top, studs up, really
Ooh.
dangerous. Yeah. It's you can't do that. You just can't attack the ball with your foot up like this and then miss and then damn near break somebody's leg in half.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. So that one I get. But then Tompkins' second yellow, it's a symptom of the game these days. If somebody's fingernail scrapes your eyelash, you've been shot. You got to go down. You got to go down like a bomb's gone off and roll around Neymar style. And like I said, Mitrovic show. Mitrovic takes the little brush of wind to the face as Tompkins is looking. He's turned around the other way, and they send him off. Cheap. So cheap.
The gamesmanship.
Oh man, yeah. I don't even know what to make of it. I guess you just can't have your arm near somebody's face at all, ever, for any reason, even if it's a natural running motion. With their whole natural thing, so. Yeah. Well, that is all the games. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop up the predictions thing here. And we can show where we're at. It was a good start.
I'll take it. Oh, I'm in last.
Is it working?
I won't.
You see it?
What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh, the second.
16?
All right. Let's
Started
go.
strong.
Let's go.
It was yeah. Patrick and I both guessed 2 of them. We
Yeah, I was
both
about to say
we
Patrick
both
got
guessed 2 games.
that Brighton Southampton game.
Yeah.
I also got City Leeds, didn't I?
Also got City Leeds.
I
Yeah.
got the Chelsea Bournemouth game right.
Yep, that was the only one.
Yep, that was the only one I missed. Wow, Wolves let me down again. The Fulham Palace game. Wow.
What were you doing thinking that United were going to draw 0-0 to Forest at home?
I hate United.
That's the one.
I will never, just like I will never bet on the boys to lose, I will always bet on United to lose.
Yeah, United home to Wolves next.
I'll die on
week.
that hill.
Wolves
will
win
die on that
3-0.
hill. I will
United
die on
go to Wolves next week, and Xavier's already licking his chops
Guess
for a
what?
date.
Guess what? It's 1-0 Wolves. Already, baby. Let's go.
Oh,
I hate United so
God.
much.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the Terry slip. That just nightmares.
Yeah, of course.
That's true.
Yeah, of course. He did that a number of times, if I recall a certain 7:30 a.m. 5-3 Arsenal game with Chelsea where old John Terry slips for RVP to run through. Am I remembering that correctly?
No, you're not.
It's the
Still
same one
nothing
where
like CBG slip.
Theo Walcott trips over his shoelace. Everybody thinks the ref's going to call a pin, and he just gets up and blasts it in. I remember that game very well. Very well.
The
Arsenal has
CDG
to hold
slip
on
is still
to
the
little-
best.
To the little,
Yeah.
victories. That's all.
I try not to laugh at people's pain on the slips because that means it's incoming for someone to feel that pain later. So I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah,
Hey,
karma.
y'all came in that Champions League final where y'all just let Mount just absolutely
Run right through the middle of the
four deep, and hey, I'm gonna split the whole field, guys.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, karma definitely comes back around for you. And we love this game. It's a wonderful game, but
Absolutely.
in the words of the my man Grizz from the Big Six, football's a humbler.
It
And
is.
so you never really know.
The
And
boiling
sometimes
shore right now. I'm very
even the
humble.
greatest can have a slip and give a goal, but
100%.
the fixtures are coming thick and fast. We're gonna pump out these episodes as much as we can. I'm looking forward to some of these games. January is going to be very telling, I think, in the league. Chelsea and Man City are going to renew a tight relationship, back-to-back games in the league and the FA Cup. That should be fun. Arsenal play Newcastle, United, Tottenham, all really soon. A lot of good stuff coming up.
Yep.
Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for all the upcoming videos. Again, this has been the For the Badge podcast. Thanks for watching, and good night.